All right, all right, all right. Welcome to GUFON tonight. It is Friday. It is April 19th, 2024. And I'm feeling kind of keen for the weekend is here right now. Everybody gonna have a good time. Welcome, everybody. I'm your host, Rich Giordano. And it is Friday. Hope everybody's having a good weekend because it's just getting started. It's Friday, right? Yeah, okay. Friday the 19th. Hello, hello. Check 1, 2, and a Buffalo Boo. 3, 4. I can hear you a little more. There we go. I had to tighten the screws on that thing right there. Hey, how's everybody? Looks like we're filling up nicely for a little big phology. What? This isn't Bigfoot? Oh, it's Bob Lazar. Yeah. We did big phology last night. Tonight we're going to do, which we haven't done. It's been 2 years since we did anything Bob Lazar. I looked, I know. I don't like doing it. And there's really no reason to talk about the Lazar. But what else are we going to talk about? Kona Blue? Not interested. I'll tell you why. I don't like the name. That's the only reason. Hate it. I looked into that thing. It doesn't mean anything right now. Yeah, oh, wow, it's something. Ooh, it's a little confusing, but if you look a little deeper, it means something to somebody, but not me. Yeah, it is what it is. And I like my shirt, Brooke is. I'm going to buy 5 more, 1 for each day. Brand new. It's a good shirt. You know what? That shirt is comfortable. Very comfortable. That is a beautiful shirt. That shirt was on sale at Walmart. Walgreens? I don't know. That big store where they sell food and tires and diapers all in the same place. We got your food in the diapers. Well, that's where it winds up anyway. That's what we're going to do. Tonight's show is exclusively this. George Knapp, Bob Lazar, Corbell, Ding Dong. Who is it? That's Corbell. It really is him. He is. He's an alien. They all are, I believe. They all are. Hey, I did my first official audit at the Pig Shack today. Some people like to call them headquarters. But I did, and I had a nice interaction with a felon, and the guy's cool as hell. Got arrested for something he shouldn't have been arrested for. Don't they all say that? Yep, well, I'm going to help this guy. I'm going to pull the camera footage. We're going to see what happened when he got smashed in the face with a pistol, and he got arrested. It's a good story. I'm going to post the video tomorrow to Rich Saves America, the official video. And I've also done a video for the mission statement video. When you enter on to, I didn't do one for GUFON, but when you go on to a YouTube channel, that big video you see sitting there in the homepage should have, hi, my name's Rich from GUFON. My channel's based on blah, blah, blah. It's an all, tell you all why you're here. But I just put up the next show. People don't care about that. Do they? Well, let's do a little bit of roll call for a Friday evening. Thank you for asking, and thank you for hanging out at the greatest UFO network. I thought we were going to be the best. Paula Faust is here. Hello. Welcome to the show. Kenneth Hacker, welcome to the show. Hey, Marcel Gufonian Metalhead. Welcome to the show. David Wilcox Nod. Welcome to the show. Brooke is? My remote viewing senses tell me... What is that on your back, dude? Oh. Oh. Brookers, what happened back there? Is that hair? Welcome to the show. Sputnik 57. It sucks when you have the microphone now. How you doing, Spoot? I can't believe I just called you Spoot. What's up, man? How you doing? Jeanette. Angel. What do you say? How do you be? Well, Regis Philbin here. We got Jeanette Angel on Who Wants to Be on GUFON tonight. Nah. Jeanette, all we need you to do is answer A, B, C, or D. We'll give you 3 lifelines if you need help with a question. For $100, here's your first question. What year did GUFON begin? Was it A, 2017, B, 2004, C, 2018, or D, I don't know. What'd you pick? D? Oh, you got it right for $100. That was a trick question. Welcome to the show. Intergalactic Angler. How you doing? Blitzkrieg, Ms. Blitzkrieg, BK in the house, and I don't mean Burger King. What's up? 2 B's are better than 1. It's Blues Batteries. Great seeing you too. Thank you. And all of me and my friends. Jeff Gavi. How you doing? You all right? All right. Hey, Jeff even threw down a $5 super dono. It's a donation with no emoji sticker or comment. They're called donos. That's how you show pure love. Yeah, you don't have to write anything. Put a heart in there if you want. You know, some people do that. But thank you, Jeff, for being a continuing supporter over the years. And if anybody else wants to help, the only place that does truthology for ufology, bigfology, and all things UFO. What was I going to say? Oh, all the links are in the show description if you want to help support it. Super chat, super sticker, as you see, PayPal, Cash App, you know what they do. Become a member. That's a fun way, right? Yesterday, Sven donated 10 memberships again. 10! That's amazing to me. Thank you, Jeff, for being that guy. Knew it was you. Knew you were the guy. First one of the night. Thanks. And Samo, Gufonian Rockstar, welcome to the show. Dorothy Hawkins, Dit.55 on X. The richest YouTube channel. Welcome to the greatest UFO network channel. And Matt Connell, welcome to the show. Are you doing well, well, welcome to the show. Hey, Murder Hornet, welcome to the show. Hey, Stardust, welcome to the show. Kenneth Hacker, what's up, man? You had one of those questions yesterday for tonight, huh? Oh. Hey, Thinkamazi, how you doing? Welcome to the show. By the way, Kenneth, welcome to the Tony, welcome to the show. You don't like this either one. You don't like this shirt either. I love this shirt. I don't know. It's a good shirt. The hat I thought matched. I don't know what color this is then. I have no idea what this is. It's not orange in my house. Under the lights here, it's not. I'm telling you, it looks different. Even this looks a little different. I don't know. Should I put this one? No, that doesn't match and it's dirty. I'll have to get a hat. All right, Dan Peters, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Let's see who's sneaking through the back door now. Alfie Joe Bob already made it good. Hey, there's David. Oh, we already did that? Well, that's David Will Cox. Welcome to the show. The AJB, Alfie Joe Bob, welcome to the show. Foghorn Laghorn, welcome to the show. Glenn Collins, welcome to the show. And Sky Allen, everybody, welcome to the show. And Dark Hour Space Paranormal. Well, this is very nice. Blues Batteries donated $10 on PayPal. I got to admit, that was really early in the show. Thank you. No, it does. It keeps the show floating a little higher when you start them off like that. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And you know, when you do that, that only solidifies you being more of the family. Okay. So you know you can't leave unless there's a legitimate reason and a note from your mother. You did. You supported Truthology for ufology. And you also said, you hope I have a great day. So I'm going to do it. And your hopes became dreams. And those dreams became reality for me. It is a nice day, isn't it? It's amazing how fast time flies. I figure I got a good 15 years left, and then I'll be totally out of commission in a wheelchair, shaking, drooling, spitting, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever. Well, let's get started, shall we? I'm not in the mood now. You know what? Maybe we should shut it all down. I mean, why bother? You know what I'm going to say. He's a hoaxer. He's a hoaxer. He's a jerk. Not me. Him, Corbell alien. Corbellian. Bobby took the Janet flights to Area 51. Yeah, I know. Yes, according to Bobby did. He went to school and got a degree. Nobody really knows. Bob attended school, but you know he sat in on classes. Oh yeah, yeah. And remember, they couldn't remember some of his teachers. I remember teachers, and I didn't go to that many schools like Bob. Right? Wait, no. And I went to more. He was only going to one class at a time. Said that backwards. I'm a little dyslexic thinking right now. Calm down. I know you're not yelling. I hear it in dyslexic world. Because I think yelling, the whispers sound like yells to me. So I'm under a lot of stress. So Bob Lazar, you know, what new things am I going to bring tonight? Nothing. Not of Bob Lazar, George Knapp, or Corbell, or the whole shenanigans. Nothing. There's nothing new to bring. So let me kick it off tonight and do a little bit of ufology before we get into whatever they want to be called. So, you know, it's frustrating because oh my God, please don't do this now. Okay, good. It didn't. Let me entertain you. I'm real excited about the new channel. Yeah, it was fun today. It's just a 21-minute video. And it was at the Hernando Sheriff's Office, whatever the hell you want to call it. And yeah, everything's going in a pace that I can handle. So it's like I get a little piece of this, a little piece of that. No cops yet, which is good because I don't know. Maybe tomorrow. Oh, wait. Oh, no. The post office isn't open tomorrow. Neither is the library. I forgot it's the end of the week. When it's the end of the week, it's the end of the week for the government. Anyway. All right. I'm going to, we're doing a lot of Bob Lazar tonight. So I'm just going to show you a few things that's going on in the community. All right. All right. Let me see here. Wait a second. Play this first. I can't remember. I did this yesterday. All right, here we go. Oh, okay. All right, let's just start with the Bob Lazar and just get it going. I never doing that. I never do that. I never just go into the topic. I wait for people to pile up in here. You know, it takes about an hour for people to realize we're still on at 7. But I'm done doing that. So let's just start the show, shall we? All right. Wow. That scared. It was loud for me. I just accidentally hit a button. All right. It's all falling apart. Hey, what's this? I don't remember. A little repetitive. All right, everybody, it's time to play Ancient George Knapp.
Are you ready for this?
Yes, Regis. What do you have for us?
We've got John Lear from 1987. Can you believe it? He's going to be talking about UFOs. Back in 1987, I was with Kathy Lee Gifford doing a morning show. This is absolutely amazing.
Here we go. That is repetitively annoying. Do-do-do-do-do. Now it's an earworm. Do-do-do. See, Mike? Do-do-do-do-do. Wow.
Introducing John Lear, and also Lear John. And JL is also on the record with John Lear, Lear John, and JL. Coming at you live on the record.
Hello and welcome to On the Record. Flying saucers,
I know.
Extraterrestrials, monsters from outer space. The government has been telling us for years that they're not real. They're weather balloons, or swamp gas, or reflections from the sun, or the ravings of lunatics. But serious UFO researchers say a breakthrough may be very close. Some of the government scientists who worked on the top-secret Project Blue Book are ready to talk. What's more, a series of revealing government documents.
Hey, look at this. This is why I love showing history. Do you see what they're showing us? This is what I grew up with. Billy Myers stuff. That's what we looked at when we went to B. Dalton bookstore or the library, looking up UFOs and seeing what's new in the library. And every now and then there would be something new. But we had this. And I used to stare at these photos with as much energy you can put into it. And I'd try to find the engine. I'd try to find a window. I'm trying to find anything that will tell me,
is that an alien in there?
Exactly. I love that time of my life. The innocence, you know. I'm not jaded back then. But I still believe we're going to get an answer.
Have trickled out of the federal files, documents that paint a much different picture of the UFO phenomenon. One of the most dedicated UFO researchers lives right here in Las Vegas. His name is John Lear, and he is my guest today. Mr. Lear, thanks for being here.
Okay, George.
To begin with...
First of all, you know why I'm doing this, right? For those of you who have been following my journey, this is, I think, Bob Lazar's father. If you look at that picture right here, it is a Bob Lazar mouth. And pretty much the eyes and forehead are very, very similar. You'll see. I'm not kidding. I really looked at these people. And there was a reason Lear took Lazar under his wing, so to speak. Not really, but gave him this weird... I don't know if he was like... I don't know the relationship. Like, was he telling Bob, like, you got to do this, you know, and... you know, tell us when they're going to show up and when they're going to do tests. And, you know, they got caught out there that night. And Bob Lazar started to go downhill after that. But I think these guys, him especially, had something to do with Bob Lazar being who he is known for today. It's very possible Bob Lazar did work at S4. I'm not saying there isn't that possibility. I don't believe in it. What I believe is that Bob Lazar was part of a PSYOP, a very isolated one where they tested the mind of somebody who would be in touch with this stuff, see how they would react. And if he reacted accordingly, maybe they literally bring you in after you're tested. And that's why they didn't take him out, because I don't think they really showed him anything. And whatever he claims he saw can't be proven. And I think the whole thing is full of loopholes, holes, and a lot of doors and roadblocks. It's the ultimate conspiracy, believing in something with very limited proof. The hand scanner was used in movies, like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, but it's a real hand scanner. But a bone hand scanner back then wasn't as good, as they said, as you would think it was. People who've seen that scanner said they didn't use those everywhere. Those were pieces of crap. Yeah, so, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But the way Bob Lazar looked when Jeremy Corbell showed him a picture of the hand scanner, that's it. And Bob Lazar, I can't believe you found this. This is absolutely amazing. This is it. I mean, I'm flabbergasted. One of his favorite words, flabbergasted. Go.
To begin with, you're a pilot, an airline pilot, captain. You have held 17 different world speed records at one time or another. You're a member of the famous Lear family that all Nevadans are pretty much familiar with. All
right, we don't need to watch this, do we? I just wanted to show there was history. All right, get that out. Bring on more. Bring on Bob. So there's several videos I thought I could start the show with. So I don't think there's anything, anywhere, any place that matters. The Bob Lazar story, in my opinion, was exactly what we did in the last 7 years here in ufology. I think if Bob was given this opportunity to play the role of somebody who broke free of Area 51S4, wherever, and came out with this story, he was afraid for his life because, when he showed everybody where they were doing the test and they got caught. And by the way, those videos are real interesting of the objects that Bob Lazar captured. Not bad, I have to admit. They're pretty cool. If he really saw and was inside a UFO and then brings his friends to go look at stuff in the sky, a test that they were doing on the SMART model, that just to let people know. Okay, so they don't take him out. But according to Bob, they scared him. Scared him enough that he thought he would go public to KLAS and George Knapp. What was it, 1989? Because he thought that they were going to take him out. It's an interesting story, but I don't buy it. It sounds like a lie. And, I have to go back to the beginning when I first learned about Bob being a hoax. And it felt like we were only getting part of the story. And I just, to this day, I'm leaning more that Bob Lazar was part of a psyop, an experiment. I think the government does that. I'm not sure if that's how they vet people to go work for them on a permanent basis. But he dropped the ball. He wanted to be loved. He wanted to be a hero for his friends. Bob Lazar did. He says he wished he never did that stuff. He just wished he just worked and didn't, act a fool. And why in the world would the government want Bob Lazar anyway? Because he lived around the area, around the corner? What, they couldn't fly somebody in? Come on, man. 1989. And they were probably vetting him for a year, secretly. Right? So they bring him in. He takes the Janet flight. He says they put a book down in front of me, and I'm flipping through pages, and I'm like, I see exactly what people say. They say UFOs, disc shaped. And I was like, oh boy. I was like, oh boy. Haha. All right, here we go. Let's go back a little bit. Not far. What is this? Here we go. We might have a little fun with this too. Isn't there a guy who... Yeah, this is the video. We're going to pop in and out of this video throughout the night. And I'm going to play it in 3-minute chunks because this is the ultimate video on Bob Lazar. There's nothing better than this video. And this video is a review of the documentary Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers. But the intention of this video is to show evidence. Are you hearing me? To show evidence of bullshit. I'm not lying. I'm going to show you. You've probably seen this video. I think it has 50 million views on it now. Well, not this video. Wow, it only has 650,000. This can't be the original source. So here we go. We're going to start with this and work in any direction. Like I said earlier, it doesn't matter where I start or end. You know the story. If you don't know it, well, you'll learn along the way. And I don't think it's going to be difficult to figure out. I'm already telling you how he got started in the stuff. Now the rest is just, well, see? It even said it right there. I didn't have to say it. It said it.
There was an FBI raid during the film. He did get raided by the FBI. That's in
We all know. Oh, sorry.
my film. I found the guy that did the security clearance for him. I found the guy that did the security clearance for him to be able
A hand reader.
And Jeremy, you found this.
I found it, so I was able to reveal it in my film. You're going to hear and see things that are new evidence, new things that have happened over 30 years. It will change the landscape.
So, Jeremy, how do you know?
I love when he talks about this shit.
Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers is a documentary by Jeremy Corbell. It's supposedly the definitive telling of Bob Lazar's fascinating story. Sadly for Bob, Jeremy makes terrible films. He also has a strange relationship with the truth. Let's take a look, and unlike Jeremy Corbell, I will actually provide proof. Imagine that, as to why Jeremy's claims of new evidence are bullshit.
For me, it was 1989 and Bob Lazar telling his story. That's what weaponized my curiosity about it. My imagination has been weaponized. I want your imagination to be weaponized. Weaponize your curiosity. That's my goal, to weaponize your curiosity. My curiosity was weaponized from that weaponization of my curiosity. And I really hope to weaponize people's curiosity. Weaponized my curiosity. My curiosity was weaponized. I want to weaponize your curiosity. I have a weaponized...
Can I say, I am. That has to be one of the worst taglines in history. It's terrible. Not one person likes it. Only Corbell. I think I heard Knapp say, that's a shitty tagline. You know, something. I think I heard it off mic. You didn't know the mic was on. It's a shitty tagline. Something like that. Could be
curiosity.
wrong.
Like weaponized my curiosity. Weaponize that.
First, a bit about Bob Lazar. Bob is a physicist who in 1989 came out with a story about working near Area 51, re-engineering supposed alien spacecraft the military had discovered years earlier. Crazy, right? He also tried to set up a brothel with his girlfriend. Still crazy. His first wife turned up dead in a house that he would later live with his second wife. Crazy? He was also married to both women at the same time. Yes, Bob Lazar's story is fucking crazy. True or false, this is an interesting guy with an interesting...
And 2 women died under his... Yeah, they were in a relationship. One of them died so mysteriously that they couldn't prove anything because only, I think, 2 people in the world know how to make this poison, and Bob Lazar was one of them. You know, they couldn't figure out how she died. And then the second one died very weirdly too. But nothing traced back to BL. You know why? Yeah, you know why. I think we all know why. You know why? You know why? Wait, maybe I just figured it out now. Maybe Bob Lazar works for the government. He looks it. You can't deny that. He said he was working out one night at the gym. And when he came outside, the doors were open, the trunk was up, his Uzi was sitting with his wallet, I think, on the front console, you know, where the armrest is, and or on the seat. Like, he was saying they were threatening me because, you know, they were just saying, you know, we know where you are and we know who you are. That's why we put your license here. So we know where you are, who you are. But then he heard one time said he was shot at. And I'm like, no, it was probably a car backfiring and he just put it into his head. That sounded a lot like gun. Oh, imagine if I was shot. Oh, that's a good idea. You know, for the script. That's Bob Lazar. He could be a government guy. All these years, we just assumed he was some rogue guy, rogue smart guy, rogue scientist. He is rogue. I never had a girlfriend die while I was dating them, or let alone multiple girlfriends die. Never had a brothel, although, you know, I've worked at a few. Well, T-bars, but wait a minute. Is there a parallel between me and Bob? Oh, that's right. I didn't have anybody die under me. Mysteriously. Well, not under me, but... I'm thinking, hold on. I for some reason, it's like I'm getting a message from the universe, the answers to Bob. And as I said that, the green screen fell down behind me. So I got to play this. Unbelievable. I'm Bob Skinny Lazar.
Interesting story. Now I have no reason to doubt that he worked at Area 51 or S4, which is the area he says this all happened. I also believe he's a very smart dude that saw something weird. But sadly, Bob Lazar, Area 51 and flying saucers will not only add nothing new to the story, it will actually damage it by either leaving out important information or straight out lying. Yes, the main problem here is Jeremy Corbell. Now don't worry if you don't know Jeremy, you're going to see a lot of him in this doco. And when
all right, take a break from that. Don't want to play the whole why. I want to blow it all in one shot. I got my own Bob Lazar stuff here. All right, here we go. Why he's lying. Here's a video. This one comes from Riveted. Riveted. All of the videos that I played tonight will be in the show's description 5 to 10 minutes after the show ends. I got to load them in because I never know what I'm going to play, but they'll be in there. Go.
Lazar, why he's lying. Hello, and welcome to another fantastic
Hi.
video. Well, Bob Lazar has had a lot to say about technological advances, and he could also be a pathological liar. If you believe that aliens are probably living amongst us, you have clicked on the right video. If you'd like to know more about what they look like, you're also to back anything up. Get this. He was raided by the feds twice, but the court couldn't do a background check on him because information about him had mysteriously disappeared. Just like that. Into thin air. Poof. However, there was no evidence that the FBI actually raided him until his documentary on Netflix was released. I don't know about you, but that sounds very suspicious to me. Maybe the government or some powerful private firm just wants to silence him and make him disappear. Yikes. But he is still alive, though. If someone powerful wanted him dead, he wouldn't be talking about top-secret information 30 years later. If you listen to physicists and scientists online, you'll realize that there's a way they talk. Many non-believers claim that Bob doesn't speak like a real physicist. His choice of words is to lame man. Not that a scientist isn't allowed to be different, but there's a certain way they identify. Also, people who are into extraterrestrial things usually sound delusional to some extent, but Lazar seems a little too collected while talking about these unheard-of occurrences. It's either he's interacted with them to an extent he's comfortable, or he's lying through his teeth. When Bob talked about the biometric reader, which could measure bones in the fingers, people said he'd gone crazy. Then it turned out to be true. Non-believers and other scientists claim that such a prediction and others he's made, including the element 115, are merely advancements of already existing facts. Believers are convinced that Bob can only be speaking from the point of personal experience, and he actually witnessed strange things working in S4. Apparently, Bob Lazar did electronic technology in Caltech and his master's at MIT, which is another claim which can't be verified. While working, he came across secret reports documenting gray aliens which were involved with humankind over 10,000 years ago. Oh, he also claimed that the aliens were from Zeta Reticuli. When he was hired to work as a scientist in Area S4, he browsed inside UFOs powered by Element 115 parked in a hangar, tried to sit in seats but found them too small. The only proof to his claims is that he said them. Wow. Okay, he may have made these things up, but how does he get to a point where he lies about attending certain schools? Lazar claimed that he was erased from the records to discredit him. The transcript and files may have been deleted, but at least one of his classmates should remember him. If anyone out there studied with Lazar, this might be an excellent time to speak out.
Yeah, I wonder where those people are. See, that's the problem. There's too many holes in Lazar's story, and we're just starting. Can't prove anything. Nobody remembers him. He barely remembers his teachers. I find that very hard to believe. And then we find out, now, 35 years later, I just sat in on classes. Right. You got a degree sitting in the classes? They'd be going, and I'd open the door, and there'd be seats, and I'd sit in. Okay, so I just had to learn what I needed to learn, basically. Oh. So you knew everything, but you had to just, like a refresher course. Exactly, Richard. We've got a lot of people in this field that have done extensive research. Jeremy is one of them, alien scientist. We'll be playing 2 of his videos today too. They've done the deep dives, deeper than I'll ever need to go, and found there's just too many inconsistencies. It's true. I said it 100 times, right? All right. So top 5 unsettling times Bob Lazar was exposed as a fraud. Now, I'm not looking for these types of videos. They come looking for me. All right? I'm not here to prove Bob worked there. I'm here to prove the whole story's a lie. He could have worked somewhere. See, this is the thing. It's very hard to believe, I know. But what if the whole entire thing was for him to think he was working at S4? Maybe that's how they vet people. They let them see if they can keep a secret, and the government has the money, and they have the resources to do this stuff. So let's say they wanted to hire me to go work at S4 or Bob Lazar or whatever. Maybe I'm smart enough, and they go, hey, we're going to, have you work here for a month, and then after that, we're going to move you to a different division if everything goes well and we have a good relationship, we like what you've done. That first month is you being tested and vetted to see if you're going to go tell your friends and family, coworkers, whatever you're doing, right? Maybe that first month, Bob Lazar did work somewhere, but it wasn't real. It was a mock. It was all set up. Even he said it. It was, kind of like a mock-up. Doors are open. I see 9 craft. I had time to count them all too, And I seen that they put a flag on it. Oh, this is why people are mistaking our craft for UFOs. Yeah, just put a flag on it. Yeah, boop. What if they put a Nazi symbol on it? Would Bob Lazar still have worked on them? Fuck yeah, I would. Hookers and Nazis? Let's do this in Vegas.
Well, allegedly working at the classified facility he calls S4. But there are significant reasons to doubt the accuracy of Lazar's statements regarding his security clearance. Lazar claims that he possessed a high-level security clearance known as Q clearance, which was granted by the Department of Energy. Official records from the DOE do not corroborate Lazar's claims. The department has stated that they have no records of Lazar ever holding a Q clearance and that they have no records or recollection of him. Lazar's descriptions of the security protocols he encountered during his alleged employment at S4 have also been called into question. He has mentioned undergoing hand scanning procedures for access to facilities, claiming that the technology used was highly advanced and not commercially available at the time. However, the technology Lazar describes was not created or implemented anywhere until years after his alleged employment, further disrupting the timeline of events he presented. Lazar's inability to provide any tangible evidence or documentation to support his security clearance claims further weakens his credibility. Despite being asked multiple times, Lazar has failed to produce any official records, badges, or identification cards that would validate his stories. The absence of...
Why are those missing? Why didn't Bobby keep those badges? This is freaking awesome. I got proof I worked at S4. You know? It's really weird. Yeah. I guess, so Bob Lazar basically never went back to work. I guess when he found out his girlfriend or wife was having an affair on him, because they were listening into the phone conversations and found out before Bob did, I guess, right? Something like that. But they figured he was going to be unstable because his relationship was unstable, so he wouldn't be able to give the same focus. And I think that's when he realized he was going to be out. I don't know. I don't remember the details. Maybe they have it here in one of these videos, but something like that. Yeah. This is what bothers me about ufology in general, right? Here you got a guy that it's very difficult to prove that he worked there. When he comes out with his story, there's so many holes in it. And I don't have to repeat them all. You know what they are. You're hearing them as the videos play out, right? And yeah, let's turn it the other way. I could do devil's advocate for positive, yeah, he did, or negative, no, he didn't. Maybe he did. Maybe he did work at a legitimate place where there were legitimate UAP, UFOs, alien craft technology, right? Maybe. He's not lying. But there's too many things that are missing. Why? The perfect answer. They, the government, according to Bob Lazar, tried to delete my existence, but they failed. Right? Couldn't get him out of the phone book. We know that. We're talking about existing at S4. And why would they go after his degree? To me, that never made sense. Why? You're allowed to go to school. So why would the government waste their time deleting? Oh, Rich, you're so stupid. They are trying to discredit him by making it look like he lied. Oh, God. You see? That's a very big hole for me. Very hard one to fill up and secure and make a stable foundation to stand on and proudly say he got a degree and he went to school and he is who he is. But I can't sit there in my Superman stance and say that to you. I just don't feel right. So if I don't feel right about Bob Lazar, believe me, I've had 20 years to look at this guy, then something's wrong. And I'm not looking for it. I wanted him to, as a matter of fact, when I first heard his story, like all of you, I wasn't in ufology back in 89, 90. I believed it. And I believed it for a lot of years until I, started doing this and looked into it. I was just like everybody who wanted to believe. And I said the same things. The government, they can do anything they want. Yeah, maybe, but it doesn't mean they're good at it. It doesn't mean they perfect deleting his existence or his records or anything. That to me is a little bit of a stretch. I don't think the government needs to do that. All the government has to say, my friends and Gufonians, is that never heard of the guy. Right? We don't know who Bob Lazar is. He says he worked at S4. I don't even know what that is. You know, that's all they had to say.
You never heard of S4, General?
Well, heard of it in like movies and stuff, but not the coffee shop or anything around where I go. You know, I hang around people who are like-minded, don't believe in that stuff. Thanks for answering my question. Hey, Stephen A. throwing down a membership for 1 month. Thank you, my friend, for being a member. That's how you do it. This way you don't miss anything. Mucho gusto. You can help support GUFON that way. Thank you. Good to have you around. Well, more than a month. You've been around for years, but thank you. Appreciate that. And Ben, the Yorkshire Gufonian, throwing down a £2, 2 quid super dono. Those are pure, well, very affectionate type of shit. You know, we love each other. I hate saying it, but all right. Thank you very much. And somebody sent me something. Oh. And Ben sent $4.20 on PayPal. He says, great shows, been listening, just, doing my thing. And then asked me if I got the drone working. Yeah, I but it wants to update. And it wants me to pay. So I don't mind. It's a one-time payment of $40. But thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben. And right there, it's a $6.20. Thank you. And Stephen A. Jeff Gavi. Dinkamaze. 2 years, brother. Yeah, that's the longest one. 24 months or 25 months, I think it is now. It's as long as I've had memberships. Thank you, Dinkum and Paula Faust. Look at that. Thank you, Paula. Thank you for bringing the latest news on ETs and UFOs. You are awesome. And thank you for not saying UAPs. You know me. I hate UAP. And for those of you who think you know it all, UAP is not the new term for UFOs. And I know even people who usually agree with me want to disagree with me on this and say, no, Rich, the government wants to change UFOs to UAP. And I say, no, they don't. I mean, would they like it to always be UAP? Maybe, but no. And here's why. Thank you, Paula. I'll tell you why. The government wants to separate UFOs and UAP. What do you mean? UFOs is for the civilians who report their sightings. UAP is for government employees who report UAP sightings, UFO sightings. That's how they know where they came from, even though they look different in the reports and everything. And one says pilot and the other one says civilian. Yeah, I get it. Well, there could be civilian pilots. You know what I mean? But that's the only reason. Now, why do people think that I'm wrong and that UAP is the new term for UFOs? What did I just ask? What did I just ask? The media, the internet, and people who think the Mandela effect are responsible for other people and themselves thinking that UAP is the new term for UFOs. It's not. That is something that was put out there by people being wrong about what that term really means and who it's for. And it's not. And now people are going along with it and saying UAP instead of UFO. You know why? Because they hear people saying the wrong thing on mainstream media. Oh, like anybody who watches The View, God help you, first of all, but they said, oh, they changed the term UFO to UAP. No, they didn't. They didn't. And I know some of you are going to strongly disagree with me. I'm so confident in this, I would have literally bet my life. because I've heard it said before. I think Hillary Clinton said that verbatim practically. She says it's the term that the government uses for UFO. And the host says, why? And she said, because that's how we know it came from us, the government. Deciding the report didn't come from. So that's where I think I heard the term. Now, we all heard it back in the day when Hillary Clinton dropped it. I think she dropped it on Jimmy Kimmel Show. Anyway, that's my opinion, which I think is a fact about the UAP being deemed UFO because they changed the term. It's not true. When the government says UAP, they're talking about a government pilot in the Navy, Air Force, Marines, whatever. And now we see people in the know saying it wrong. Everybody's just going to start calling UFOs UAPs. And we got to fight that.
But Rich, they're not always flying. Sometimes they're, well, swimming. How do you call that one?
Look, we're going to stay with USOs for that. It's unidentified submerged object. Each place has its meaning. You just can't say UAP, trans medium craft, negator. First of all, that's nothing that's ever been proven. Splash video, please. It's a flare. God almighty. All right, let's get back to the Bob Lazar. Hey, who's this guy? The UFO man throwing down a 2-pound, 2-quid super sticker? He's a consistent supporter. Thank you very much. Don't forget to support the UFO man. Hey, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Continually. Thank you. The UFO man. The-UFO-man. And I'm glad you didn't change your name to the UAP man. It would be a lot different if you did. And please don't start another channel called the UAP man. Maybe as a spoof channel and call it the UAPP man. Just because. Because I'm immature. Thank you, UFO man. The UFO man. I'm a UFO man. You're the UFO man. Giddy up. Back to Bob. Back to George. Let's go to the Joe Rogan Experienza. And I'm going to move it along to 6 minutes and 18 seconds into this interview with Bob Lazar. And this is a very important discussion. And I'm not going to preface it with anything other than that. In about 5 seconds, it'll appear on your screens. Please have your listening ears on. In 3, 2.
God, it was like 2 or 3 hours of just solid paperwork. And that was really an uneventful first day.
Paperwork. That's all he did was paperwork his first day. Sounds legit to me so far. All right, let's go.
When did things get weird? When did you realize?
I'd have to say day 2.
Like, at what point in time did you say, hey,
I'm sorry,
this is not normal work? Like, this doesn't even seem like it's from this planet.
Are we talking about the brothels?
That, I can't tell you what day that occurred on because so much time has gone by. The days have kind of fused into one, and I can't separate the days.
Was it a slow burn, or was there a moment of recognition?
Well, the first inkling I had was when I came in. There's this facility that is at S4. It's in the side of a mountain. And normally we had pulled in with the bus and gone around the front through a normal double door. This time that I went in, there were hangar doors open. I went in through the hangar door, and in the hangar door was the disc, the flying saucer that I worked on. I saw it sitting there, and we walked by it. It had a little American flag stuck on the side, and I thought, oh my God, this finally explains all the flying saucer stories. This is just an advanced fighter, and this is fucking hilarious.
Right.
So, wait, hold on. So he's saying because of the flag on the side of the supposed disc that it makes it official. Like, why would they put an American flag on a disc-shaped object that's kind of probably either a prototype, maybe reverse engineered, we don't know. But I'm going to go a little further woo for you and believe his story for a moment. And let's just say that is the official craft, a real UFO. And I don't think if it was a real UFO, they would put an American flag on it. For one reason, I don't think they would want to disrespect the technology. To me, that would be disrespectful. That'd be like finding a real alien mummy and, putting a Red Bull sticker on its forehead. Sponsored by Red Bull. It doesn't make sense. That's another part of the story people don't talk about that I bring up. I think it's very strange to add that in the story. And I think that was added in there by the writers of his script. Let's put an American flag symbol. This way it'll give us a good in with it being ours. And that's what people are misidentifying. First of all, they're not misidentifying a UFO. It is a UFO. It's got a flag on it. Oh, that must be ours. That's what I meant. Yeah. Well, you did say that. He did say that. I'm actually talking to myself. He did say it. Yeah, I know. But it doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense to put an American flag on a disc. Secondly or thirdly, I don't know where we are on the lees, but I don't think you got to put an American flag on a UFO, first of all. I think we pretty much can tell that's a one-of-a-kind vehicle right there. Can we all agree? Lambo, right? I mean, it's ridiculous. It's disrespectful. Because if it's an archaeological, like Bob's, I think they found that it's going to be an archaeological dig site. It could be an archaeological dig site. I just said that. Why would you put a sticker on the side of it? Because Bob's coming to work? It doesn't make sense. So, I don't buy that he walked by the Papoose Lake side door thing. Close the doors. We got Bob Lazar's come. Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar. That's what she said. What? It's really Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar. All right. We get it. So that's why I feel the way I do. Go.
So I went by, I slid my hand alongside it. I got reprimanded immediately for touching the thing. And
what a pervert. You don't go feeling up a disc-shaped object. Who the hell are you? This guy doesn't know boundaries. No wonder why he's got a brothel. He needs to grab him by the hoo-ha. I mean, he just got to go grabbing. Got to go touching. Well, there was no sign that said don't touch it. I didn't know I couldn't touch it. Bob, please don't touch the interdimensional, multi-dimensional, unidentified flying alien technology, please.
And there was a guy, an armed guard, that followed us in and just said, keep your eyes forward and your hands at your side and just walk in the door.
Horse blinders.
So that was the first time I had seen anything that was weird. It was sometime later that I was introduced to my my lab partner, Barry. And we had some of the subcomponents of the craft in the lab. And Barry was very anxious to get a new lab partner. So he was very talkative and couldn't wait to show me different things. And it
come to find out Barry was gay. So there's that too. His name is Barry. That's a gay name. No, I'm just kidding. Calm down, all Barrys. All Barrys, calm down. Nah, I don't give a fuck. Your name's Barry. I was going to be scared of you. All right. Next, let's see what else we got out there. What else do we got? Police department doubles down on tyranny. Oh, that's not this. This man. No, that's not it. Oh, is that him? Is Bob Lazar lying? Lazar. I say laser. That's Lazar. Oh, this is Lex Friedman, or as some people used to say, Friedman. Hello, my name is Lex Friedman. No, it's Friedman. It's Friedman. Like Sigmund Friedman? You're not Sigmund Freud. You're Lex Friedman. Deal with it. I'm Lex Friedman. Whatever you say, hoochie coochie guy. I like that.
Like, you have that kind of time for Bob Lazar.
Yes.
But maybe not for Donald Trump.
No, that's different. Because Bob Lazar.
I thought Bob was on.
What he's talking about. Like, I wanted to know with the Bob Lazar thing. I wanted to know, first of all, I want to be around him and see if I could smell bullshit.
Did you? Like,
no. No, I didn't, man. That was what's weird about it. Not only did I not smell bullshit, I went over all of his interviews. He hasn't done a lot, but he's done enough. And he's done them over the course of 30 plus years. And it's alarming how consistent his story is, which is really weird when you think about, you're talking about back engineering alien crafts and working on a top secret government test site that's carved into the side of a mountain and to camouflage it from satellites. It's such a wacky story, but the guy really.
Okay. Listen, you know how I was talking yesterday, the day before that, and the whole week before that, all last year, this year, and the year before, those two, how people are the worst at being witnesses, right? Now, Bob Lazar recounts his story a few times on the news when he first came out with it, and maybe a talk show or two. Not a bunch of stuff in the early 80s, late 80s, early 90s, right? Then he retires, comes out of retirement 30 years later, does the movie, whatever. And his story is very, very, very close. Like, everything almost is verbatim. Nobody talks about how weird that is. Everybody talks about how he kept his story the same. Do you know how hard it is to do what he did? Not Joe, but I was telling you guys in the same vein of that topic the other night, how I was telling my own story and I was wrong about the time by 30 minutes. My own story. You know what I mean? And that's just a dream I had. Here, Bob Lazar's talking about working at S4 and alien craft, maybe archaeological stuff, and technologies non-existent. I find this to be another hole in the story. I find it too perfect. He's too perfect. Nobody's that good. You know who's that good? You really want to know? Actors. And people who have to. Now, I'm not saying Bob didn't get a refresher course in his own story over the years before he came out. Jeremy Corbell calls him up. It calls him 20 times. Finally, Bob says, all right, I'll do the fucking movie. All right. Jeremy says, well, how much time do you need? He goes, I just got to refresh my own memory and watch a movie about me, and then he does that. And then he's got his story back in his head. It shouldn't be too hard to remember at that point. He could have done it that way because I don't think he's that dumb. I think he might even have like partially photogenic memory to repeat a story as perfectly as he does. It's almost like a trick. It's too good. So I find that suspicious. Let's finish this up here.
He did work at Los Alamos Labs. He really is a propulsions expert. He really is.
And yes, to answer your questions that I'm not seeing, I think you're thinking, Rich, you're acting like a hammer where everything's a nail. Absolutely. I'm looking for holes in the story. You're damn right I am. You have to.
Is a scientist. Did he really work on back engineering UFOs? I don't know. But the way he described their motion is exactly like what's been observed by some of these pilots that have these videos that they've captured.
And I just love that, like, NASA, I've been hearing from a bunch of folks who they're legitimately like funding research, and there's people really taking this seriously of UFO sightings, investigating them.
Yeah.
Like adding more and more sensors to collect data from just observing at higher and higher definitions. It's cool to finally see that. And he was one of the early people, whether he's full of shit or not, that kind of forced people to start taking these topics seriously,
or at least force people to have conversations about them and maybe attempt to debunk them because it seems so preposterous, but then get sucked down the rabbit hole and start going, maybe we'll fucking. It's the thing is like the Fermi paradox, like where are they, right? And when you take into account just the sheer raw numbers, the vast majority of people objectively assume that there is life out there. The vast majority. Well, if you really take into account what we understand about the universe itself, what we understand about the concept of infinity, and the way Neil deGrasse Tyson has explained it to me is that not only are there life forms out there, but there's you. You are out there. Infinity is so large that Lex Friedman exists, and doesn't just exist, but exists an infinite number of times. Like the amount of interactions that cells and molecules, the same exact interactions that have happened here on Earth have happened in the exact same order an infinite number of times in the cosmos.
Oh, come on. All right, there we go. Interesting. All right. And I will be posting all of the links to every YouTube video I play tonight in the show description. So you can watch any of these videos at your leisure. Now, one of my favorite things is body language. We looked at this once from what's the name of that? The group, the UFO, the body, the behavioral group, the behavioral panel. We have not watched the behavioral panel in over a year. You know why? I don't know either. I just stopped. I don't think you guys like this stuff. I don't think you like the body language. I know some of you do. I talked to some of you, but it just doesn't seem like you guys believe in the body language when we all do the same thing. It's in our DNA, and we all, like, when we're lying, have a tell. A lot of people do this, or when they're thinking of something, they go, I don't know, and up and to the right. But I remember up and to the left. Or they look down on the floor. Did I drop my keys? We all do the same things. We scratch. We do this when we're about to lie or just do a line of coke. Lie, line. Lie, line. Same motion. Motion? It's the same motion. Motion. So, let's listen to the behavioral panel. Listen to Bob Lazar speak. Watch his movements. Go. These are pros. I don't know why I'm laughing. I'm laughing at nothing tonight. I'm so stupid. All right. Let's go. Let's just start out. I don't want to hear their...
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, six. It's 6 and a bonus. The bonus is, I've talked myself into a corner and I don't know what.
That is the lycanthropy werewolf. I'm Scott Rouse. I'm a body language expert and analyst. I train law enforcement.
A bunch of books on body language and behavior.
Everybody who he is, and just a real brief rundown of...
It's fantastic. He says he's telling it in order to protect himself. He says he was hired to work at an area called S4. At S4, he says, are flying saucers, antimatter reactors, and other working examples of technology that is seemingly beyond human capabilities.
Right. This came from somewhere else. I mean, as bizarre as that is to believe, but I mean, it's there. I saw it. I know what the current state of the art is. And
as bizarre as that may seem, did you hear what he said? As bizarre. Blazar, Bob Lazar, Blazar, bizarre. See? Signs. They're everywhere. He's telling us a story within the story. Somebody write that down. Ma, Blazar, 12.
in physics and
it can't be done.
All right, well, let's get to the first question or the first video.
Oh, were we supposed to watch? All right, let's see what they say.
And go from there.
But what did you do while you were there? If you're looking at this object, this reactor, and you can't figure out what it is or how it works, other than the fact that it works on this element that we don't even know about.
Sure. I mean, the thing was what you do in, with anything. If you're trying to analyze it, all you can do is perform tests. And all we did is try and come up with every kind of test we possibly could. I mean, we tested, it violated a lot of what we thought was impossible to violate. I mean, one of the first laws of thermodynamics, I mean, essentially any machine, any device that operates always makes extra heat. Nothing works at 100% efficient. Even the headphones you're wearing.
So right out of the gate, the thing that bothers me here is we're seeing somebody who is, over the years, he's mastered redirection. In other words, you'll ask him a question, he won't give you the answer. He'll talk about some stuff, and Greg always points this out, and I think he pointed this out to begin with. He brings in information that has nothing to do with the answer, and it's a lot more something you may not know about, be aware of. When he asks him, what did he do there? And the next thing you know, you're talking about thermodynamics. And he's talking about, and he says, and one thing that bothered me is he said one of the first laws of thermodynamics, there are 3 of them traditionally. And the first one talks about what he's talking about, the 2 types of heat, when you get into the details of that. But that just shows that he's redirecting. He does this quite often when he's in a spot like that. We also see what I call loping. When someone's talking, they're talking. There's a thing on Netflix now called Unsolved Mysteries. And in Unsolved Mysteries, there's some people who've been picked up by a UFO. They claim that. And there's an old woman on there that's talking. And if she's not telling the truth, it freaks me out, because that's the most honest-looking UFO story I've ever heard in my life. And hers is what it does. Yeah. And hers is what she talks. It's loping when you see that, when you hear her talking. So that's what really bothers me with that. We see him do mercy hands, which is a lot of times you'll see him do this in frame, but when he's down like this, you'll see his thumbs turn. And mercy hands,
Corbell.
or when you say
Corbell's Jesus hands, please believe me.
When you hold your hands up and say,
I told you, Corbell went to a speech therapist or learned how to be speaking in public. He must know somebody in politics that gave him the, phone number of how to talk in public, because Jeremy Corbell wouldn't do this while he's talking to you in front of you. Have you ever seen Jeremy Corbell not doing an interview like this? He has his hands in his pockets a lot of the time, one hand in, the other hand, who knows where, right? He's not doing this, while he's sitting at the dinner table. Mom, we went to Rio, and you know what I mean? It's a show. That's why I'm telling you, this whole world we're living in is a show. UFO world, that is. It is. I like it. I like being a part of the show. All right. So he's talking about the Jesus hands. Let me go back a few seconds so we don't lose, because I interrupted and you're going to be like, where was he at?
Yeah, because that's the most honest looking UFO story I've ever heard in my life. And hers is what it does. Yeah. And hers is what she talks. It's loping when you see that, when you hear her talking. So that's what really bothers me with that. We see him do mercy hands, which is a lot of times you'll see him do this in frame, but when he's down like this, you'll see his thumbs turn. And mercy hands, or when you hold your hands up and say, have mercy, you got to believe, God, please believe me. You've got to have mercy on me, believe me. So we're seeing a little bit of that as well. We see it a couple of times throughout these things we'll be looking at. And then what else have I got? Yeah, I think that's good. Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, so I'm already starting to work on eye baselining here. Now, here's the interesting piece. He's told this story so many times. He's doing rote eye movement. So if I tell you a story a million times, I'm going to my base. I can tell you by watching enough of him, he's a right eye recall. So when his eyes are moving to his right, he's doing recall. By the way, about 90% of the population goes the opposite direction for some kind of recall. And all of his is rote. It's all auditory. If you guys remember me telling you, you can't have a cover story because everything is auditory and binary, and there are no visual cues. No visual cues here, if you notice. It's all in the same place where it's auditory or visual. he gets asked a question, what did you do? Good job, Joe Rogan, by the way. Not many people ask hard questions. Great
He was
questions.
great.
And okay, now I'm going to be Greg and talk like Greg for a minute. If you ask me what I do, I'd say physicist shit if I couldn't come up with a better answer. But he didn't come up with a better answer. I would say tested magnetism, tested electricity, tested heat, tested. You could list any one of a number of things that a physicist would talk about. Instead, he goes, and he starts to move into what I call Scott, you hit it dead on, redirect, but I call it chaff and redirect because he just starts to puke information until he gets to a common denominator and sees that you understand it. And then when he gets down to that level, then he redirects. And it's an age-old thing. Once I get something that's factual that you believe, I can thread a lead that will cause you to pick up the next question. That starts me down the path of really starting to pay attention to his eyes and those pieces. And I'll loop back to this later in the show because I want you to pay attention to what he's doing to you when he's telling the story.
Excellent. Chase, what do you got?
So we saw the redirect, and he doesn't really answer the question. And a rule for you guys why.
All right. We don't need to play more than 2 replies. We don't need to hear 4. Yep. And, these guys, I don't know, man. They're just looking for the lies. That's not fair. Why don't they look for the truths? They're looking. That's what they do. They look for body language. It's funny. Yeah. All right. Let's go back. And I'll bring you back to this. Let's continue.
I say a lot. We will see him more than we see Bob Lazar. This phone reenactment is 20 minutes alone of the film. That's no exaggeration. It really is. Oh man, check out those poses. Even though some documentary filmmakers include themselves in their films, there is usually a reason needing to confront individuals, or simply they are part of the story. But the really great documentaries let the story come straight from the subject, and it can pay off to listen.
Kill them all, of course.
Not Jeremy. Jeremy wants to be the star. So much so that the first 6 minutes of this film is taken up by Jeremy play acting in his bathroom. Yes, that's 20 minutes in the lounge room and a good 6 in the bathroom. Not only is the little play a confusing way to start your doco, where is your subject, Jeremy? It's not supposed to be you. It's linked to a lie. The famous raid.
He did get raided by the FBI.
An FBI raid that wasn't what it all appears. Now, I know filming in your bathroom is a lot easier than actually going out and investigating the story, but once you've set up your little light with the pink gel and you've pulled off those poses, make sure you've changed the date on your fake messages. Not only is the incoming message time different to the phones, it's a completely different date. He changed the phone time to suit his story, but not the messages. I mean, it's only the start of your film, Jeremy, and supposedly an important detail, but fuck it.
The other agenda was to uplift the visual medium of filmmaking in this genre, which I did.
That's a big statement. Maybe recreating a Soundgarden clip from 1991 is lifting the game.
Hold the fuck on. Hold the fuck on. But what I didn't do is I didn't make an Ancient Aliens bullshit thing where I try to show you some stupid fucking image and be like, oh, that's fucking it. The films I'm putting out, although they're not force-feeding you some bullshit spooky movie kind of grainy footage stuff, what I am providing you is the real story.
You lie.
God, he's awful. Just absolutely horrendous. Horrendous. Endus? Endus, whore! You grifting whore! We could do this all night, and it would be unfair. So, I'm bringing on the show Bob Lazar. Check it out, guys. Hey, Bob. I'm joking. Can you imagine? That'd be great. Freaking Bob Lazar. I'm right here, Richard. Holy. Someday, maybe never. Someday, maybe never. There's a man with a story that's true. And he said they were out to take his life. And he said we're living in a zoo. La, la, Bob Lazar. Ba, ba, Bobby Lazar. He made it to KLAS TV. He spoke to the man in charge. He said, fellow, I've got a story for you, and I've got a UFO in my garage. Oh, la-da-da-da-da-da, yeah. I'm Bob Lazar. See? It's not that hard. It's all off the cuff. It just hits me like, you know, like weed, man. No, I'm just kidding.
For state senate candidate, you don't sound like the kind of guy who would get hooked up in something that a lot of people would say is,
oh, like a brothel? You murder?
No, it's just by coincidence.
Oh, I thought this was Bob Lazar. I don't want to watch this guy anymore. I don't care about Jan Lear. To me, that was funny. I don't know why. I thought that was Bob. All right, let's go back to this one. Why is Bob lying? This is where we left off. Calm down. Yo, Bobby. Richard.
It's impossible to imagine that hundreds of people who've gone through MIT and Caltech all have no recollection of him. Insane. The big question is, why would he lie about something so massive? On one hand, he could probably be telling the truth, and on the other hand, he could be making it all up for attention and to make a couple of bucks in the process. There's no denying that the world has had its fair share of delusional people. First of all, there's a documentary on Netflix which was licensed for an undisclosed amount of money. In 2015, the IUFOC heavily paid him, and for every tester's plastic model sold to the Lazar tape excerpts of the government Bible, he got a percentage. So whether the claims are valid or not, he's made quite some money over the years. In an interview with Joe Rogan, Bob explains a reactor which creates gravity. Theoretically, it's not possible to make gravity on Earth, and a machine which makes gravity, as Bob claims, can bring every science fiction into reality. When he first started working, his partner Barry was excited to work with him, and he alludes that his former partner died because he tampered with the reactor. Yet he let Bob touch and examine it. Bob has been talking about the reactor for 3 decades, and again, he's still alive. Yet it's supposed to be top secret information. During that time he worked with Barry, he was never allowed to ask any questions, and he only dealt with aspects related to his field, which was to help with reverse engineering of extraterrestrial crafts. Joe goes ahead and asks Lazar to talk about element 115. For someone so precise and elaborate when talking about the reactor, he seemed uncertain about element 115. For those who may not be aware, element 115 is used to power the extraterrestrial crafts, according to Bob. Then he said that he had a migraine and needed a minute to think through it. Apparently, it's been a while, and the events and time are mixed up in his head, and he can't remember some of it. How in the world can he afford to forget details involving aliens and other technological advances which may be too advanced for human understanding? Bob said he had a migraine while doing the podcast, and it was probably why the details must have been mixed up.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. All right, well, maybe there was a chink in the armor. That's racist. No, it isn't. It's like a crack. You said chink. You know what I meant. I know what you said.
Which is okay.
No, it's not okay. Oh, ba Lazar. Ole ba de Lazar. 30 years later, he came alive, and they brought him to the net. The Corbell fans, they got on their knees, and the girls, they all got a vest. He came and went as fast as the wind. We haven't seen him in a while. His name is Bobby Lazar, and he left us with a smile. And element 115, here we go. I know, I have more of that in me. It's just coming to me, and I don't know who's sending it.
Such basic, simple evidence raises suspicions about the authenticity of his security clearance. Lazar's security clearance claims are also contradicted by the U.S. government's complete denial of the existence of the facility where he alleged to have worked. That's right, S4 doesn't even exist. The U.S. Air Force, which oversees Area 51 and related facilities, has denied the existence of S4 and any involvement in extraterrestrial technology research. There are so so many reasons to question the accuracy of Bob Lazar's claims regarding his security clearance. The lack of official records from the Department of Energy, inconsistencies in Lazar's descriptions of security protocols, his inability to produce supporting documentation. You know, we're gonna get into everything soon, so don't even worry your pretty little head about it. Number 4, legal turbulence. Bob Lazar, a controversial figure.
All right. Put a needle on a record and the drum beat go like this. All that boom badly. I want to go to somebody who knows what they're talking about instead of somebody who's just who didn't do the research, because Jeremy did very well debunking Bob Lazar. And this, literally, it's from Danny Jones clips, but it's Jeremy, right? And this is him, and the title of this 12-minute and 42-second video is The Bob Lazar Story, a Scam. Jeremy is one of the few people known for doing an incredible job on Bob Lazar. He and no, not Scambian. Scambian got all his stuff, and he doesn't give the guy any credit. I can't remember his name. A Solar Marshall. And Solar Marshall, Jeremy, they knocked it out of the ballpark. So, I know I'm confident in this video. It's going to give us what we've been waiting for the last hour and a half. So here we go.
And there's just so many elements of Bob Lazar's story that we have tracked down, because if he's leaking classified information on scientific level, right, like the element 115 stuff. So that's the real big scientific thing that he supposedly came out with, and there's so many misconceptions about that as well that I'd like to spend a minute to clear up.
Okay.
So the key thing of Bob's story is the element 115, which he says is how the power source and the also the anti-gravity propulsion source for how these things fly. And he claimed, people claim he predicted it back in 1989. There's lots of other people who predicted it, including, back in the 1960s. Like Glenn Seaborg knew that there was going to be elements up that high, and he even predicted the element, the island of stability there. And there was actually an article that was published in Scientific American in May 1989, which is the exact month and year that Bob Lazar first came out with his story. And it's on page 68 of the May 1989 issue of Scientific American, and it's called Super Heavy Elements. And it talks about the island of stability in element 115. But nowhere in any of this is any mention that it has anti-gravity properties or, energy, production properties. So that's the big thing. We've discovered element 115, and people like the Corbells and everyone try to claim that means that.
Nobody can predict how high the element chart's going to go to. But you can't predict that element 115 would have been able to create some sort of gravitational distorted field or something to that nature. So I think Jeremy's a little wrong there. Am I wrong? Hold on. You can't have it both ways. That's why. Listen.
For heavy elements, and it talks about the island of stability in element 115. But nowhere in any of this is any mention that it has anti-gravity properties or, energy, production.
Well, how were they supposed to know? How would they know? They don't know, because element 115 hasn't been found out yet. So, of course, they can't say there's going to be that. Yeah, I find that interesting. Unless I don't know what the frig I'm talking about. But as a layman who doesn't know science like these guys, that's what it sounds like to me. So maybe he'll explain
properties. So that's the big thing. We've discovered element 115, and people like the Corbells and everyone try to claim that means that, they've confirmed Bob Lazar's story, because he predicted it in 1989, and then they discovered it years later. So that confirmed his story. No, it didn't. He claimed that there was a stable isotope and that it had anti-gravity properties. some more records of his educational background, which he claims to have these degrees, advanced degrees, and have gone to these schools.
Which there is evidence, right?
So the evidence came out, right? It's interesting because he had a court case in 1991, and on his court documents, he stated that he had his bachelor's degree was from Pacifica University, which is a correspondence university.
And what year did you say this?
It was shut down in the early 90s as being a degree mill. So this was like 91, I think, was the conviction. So it was like two years after he came out with the story.
So this place called Pacifica was selling degrees.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Selling. Okay.
Yeah.
That's where he put. So the court case is interesting too, because apparently, he had, become this whistleblower about this big top secret program that he was hired to be this senior staff physicist on, and that afterwards he was after 2 years later he's running a brothel. He's literally running a brothel. That's what he gets. He wasn't running the brothel. He was. There was a madame who was running the brothel. It was called the Crystal Cove, and he actually got arrested for setting up a CCTV camera system in the apartment complex, and they were filming and blackmailing customers.
Wow.
At the brothel.
Is there proof that he tried to blackmail people?
It's a court case. He pleaded guilty to it. Yeah.
Oh,
you can look it up in Nevada. Yeah, you can look it up in Nevada. So it's there.
Does this sound like the type of person that our government would want working alongside alien technology? It's weird. They must have been desperate, or they must have thought he was some talented freak savant of technology. I don't know. It doesn't, you see, this is the part that doesn't make sense to me. And if it doesn't make sense, it's not true, If something doesn't make sense, then that something is off. It's not true. We're being lied, or there's a mask over the story, or, you know what I mean? It's just freaking, it doesn't make sense. I don't know. Standards weren't that low in 1989. It's almost 1990. I was alive. Standards were pretty good, I have to admit. This is just nutty, though, right? Listen to the rest. Well, not the whole thing. We'll listen to a few more minutes.
And there's a video of it online, and there's even videos of George Knapp talking about the incident, how he's like, he just, brought this big scientist whistleblower out, and here goes the whole story because, right. And apparently it wasn't enough to make it go away. And a lot of people still don't know about that and that it happened. But the court documents from that case, he lists his degree his bachelor's degree was from Pacifica University, not MIT or Caltech. He doesn't say that. And he says that.
Do you know how far apart that is? That's one side of the spectrum to the other. That's one that, you can literally cheat your way through the correspondence course. So that's why he said it's a degree mill, because you're not going to fail, and they're going to give you the degree, right? And what was the other one? I don't know. Oh, listen to the rest.
His he had some, I don't know, he said something about University of Cal Northridge. I got to look at the documents from that court case, but it's on there. You can look it up. There's a whole website, BobLazarDebunk.com, where people can get a lot of these documents and other stuff. And other researchers have done stuff on this too, including an account on Twitter called Signals Intel. And
there's not a lot of traction online with people that are trying to pick apart his story and doing it successfully, until I became aware of you, did I really start to notice some of these details. Because people aren't looking for it, because the Bob Lazar story is such a fantastical story.
It's awesome. I mean, that's what got me into researching UFOs and black projects and thinking the government has this stuff. That and movies like Independence Day in 1997, where they have that scene where they go into the underground hangar and they say, "Oh, we got this from Roswell," and all.
So from the time you first learned about Bob, how long did it take for you to start to question everything?
I tend to question guys like Bob Lazar, and especially that's one of the main things is the education, the fact that he'd lie about being a physicist and having these credentials and then not being able to back it up. if you're a senior staff physicist, as I mentioned, well, I didn't mention that. Let's bring up Bernard Hayes again, because I wanted to get into that. Bernard Hayes has what's called a CV, or curriculum vitae, and that's what any published scientist is going to have, a bunch of work that they've worked on. Now, this guy was a senior staff physicist. He worked at Lockheed Martin Advanced Aerospace Concepts Department from 1979 to 1999. Talk more directly into that thing. Yeah, so 1999. And he worked on a bunch of classified physics programs as a senior staff physicist. And this is what, a real resume would look like for someone who they'd recruit and hire to these types of programs. Mm-hmm. Bob Lazar does not have a CV. He claims to have a master's degree from MIT, and he claims that his thesis was in MHD, or magnetohydrodynamics, which is a form of propulsion where, it's like that when you ionize air and make it plasma and then use magnets to move that plasma. That's magnetohydrodynamics.
Okay.
So you can use it for propulsion, and, which is why he claimed that's what his degree was in, that would give him credibility to have.
I'll put the links to these videos into the show description. There's more to listen to. Yeah, it's pretty wild. It is. So that brings into question his degree. Pacifica? It's not MIT. It is funny. It's amazing. Yeah. So as you're hearing all these different things about Bob Lazar, you can make up your own mind on what you heard tonight. I want to do one more on Bob Lazar body language, because there's a good one, I think. Is this one here, I believe. Let me see if this is the one. Yeah, here it is. Okay. All right. In 5, I said 4, then 3, just about 2, and go.
Sit there and talk to him. They're wiggling all over the place, and that leg gets to going. Oh, it's beautiful. So
it's
yeah,
beautiful.
Mark. Yeah, you nailed that.
Did you see just one type or different types?
There were 9 total. I only got to essentially work, back engineer, or analyze one of the craft. But there was a separate hangar for each of the crafts, and each one was essentially different in its visual appearance.
Did anybody tell you where the U.S. Navy intelligence got the craft from?
No. No, not at all. That's a lot of people have speculated about it, that they were either shot down or they crashed, but the craft seem undamaged, so I doubt either of those would be correct.
Is everybody good?
Yep.
Yeah. Let's move on.
He looked
One
good.
of the 9 flying discs he says he saw at the base, which was designated S4, looks exactly like this UFO photographed in Europe. Lazar called it the sport model.
I gave everything simple names. There's the top hat one, and the Jello mold, and the sport model operated without any hitches at all. I mean, it looked new. If I know what a new flying saucer looks like. One of them looked like it was hit with some sort of projectile. It had a large hole in the bottom and a large hole in the top with the metal bent out, like some sort of, large caliber 4 or 5 inch projectile had gone through it.
Okay. Well, right here, I know you guys got a ton of stuff about this one, but he didn't, when he talks about the specifics of the hole, remember on the Joe Rogan one, he talks about how this ship is on its edge and how you can see he doesn't do this number because he says it came from the bottom and went up, that he would have said from the side this way. So that tells me that's an inconsistency there. Again, I want to believe this cat's telling the truth, but this shows me deception in the comparative view of the past and the present, talking about that. And he uses his hands to create that picture. And like as Chase was saying before, that's so important because he's building. I don't know if he's looking at him, I didn't notice that, but he's creating that picture in your mind, so you'll have that as he tells the story. That's why he's a good storyteller as well, Greg, because as he tells.
Well, why can't Bob Lazar just is trying to be as simple as possible by showing, because we're talking about UFOs. Maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe he's really excited about it. And maybe that's all it is. You would hope. But unfortunately, there's so much data that what Bob Lazar is doing shows that he's lying, most likely. Sucks. Because he looks so honest. Right? Lazar!
Tells a story, he builds it, and he starts making pictures for you. Again, when we're building pitches for entrepreneurs,
what's wrong
one
with
of the things
that?
you do is you want to build that a picture they can take out of their head and then go home and pop it in their wife's head or their husband's head, because they're going to say, what did you do? What happened today? You're going to invest in whatever it was? And I'm thinking about it. Yeah, why? Because if you're going to put 300 grand or 1.2 million in that thing, you got to be able to explain that to your person. Just, you got to be able to nail it. So they go, oh, it sounds good to me, because you're not pitching to the husband or the wife or the other person. You're pitching to that person, and you've got to give him something to take home. And that's what he's doing. He's giving us some things to take home and think about later. When you think about that whole, not this, but in the other one, it should have been that way, if that makes sense. All right, Chase, what do you got?
I agree. And I will say in disagreement with one thing, that the building the pictures, I would not classify as a strong deceptive behavior.
Right.
I speak like that naturally. You know, I write fiction. So when I talk.
And all Italians do, right? That's so weird. You know, the entire show, I keep hearing a voice, like there's something playing, like a show or a conversation, you know, and it's a woman's voice. And I hear this voice when I do the show. And tonight it was extremely loud, and it sounds like it's been coming like right up behind me. And then it moves away. Like it gets dimmer. It sounds like if I turn my head, it's louder. And then when I take the headset off, I don't hear it. I put the headset back on, I hear it. It's not in here though. You know what I mean? You know when it's not in your headset, when it's outside. Anyway. All right. I think we get it. Bob Lazar, maybe he wasn't an honest guy. Maybe he was an honest guy. Maybe, just maybe, the government tried to cover him up, and it makes it look like he was lying or not 100% truthful. The story has too many holes, and I have a very hard time believing. But and the weird thing is with the behavior panel, because their job is to look for deception. So it's not like they're biased towards not believing the story. They look for deception. That's all we all do. When we're looking at a UFO video, we're looking for deception to see if there's any hallmark signs of a hoax, or something in a bad edit that'll pop up. The object disappeared before it got to the wall. What? So stuff like that. We do that with we're basically reverse engineering Bob's story by listening to what he says, what he said in the past, and what he says today. And we didn't hear much of today. I want to finish, though, with the rest of that funny documentary, because to me, I can't laugh enough. And I think we need it in our lives. Soon. Here we go. We need to all laugh for a few more minutes. Enjoy.
It is full of this shit. Yes, of all the people, Jeremy's convinced Mickey Rourke to what he calls narrate the film.
Beliefs are mercurial things. To crack a life open, and it seems like the reading of omens by viewing the entrails.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it? And by narration, he means saying random shit that is not only impossible to understand, but has zero to do with Bob's story. Now, Jeremy is no wordsmith on his own.
Imagine a place between shadow and substance.
What does that mean?
Why waste time? Say lot word when few word do trick.
But he is super pumped to have Mickey Rourke on board. Give him some space, man. Ha! Same billing. Now remember, Mickey was the good-looking, talented actor who decided to go into boxing. And well, let's just say, not the best outcome. So of course the guy that's been hit in the head way too many times should narrate.
Maybe they'd like our condors and cupcakes. The kimono or the top hat, who the fuck knows?
Fuck, he sounds like he's had a lobotomy. Wait. What's that scar? My mistake. Everything's normal. Before we get into Jeremy's problem with the truth, let's look at what Jeremy believes.
My documentaries are investigative journalism. It's a investigative filmmaking. I want to know the truth as much as you do. I identify myself as an investigative filmmaker.
Jeremy's been selling this for years. The idea that he truly investigates and wants to get to the truth. He wants you to think his film will actually teach you something new.
You know, I want to know too, if this is true. I think that it's either true or it's not true. I want their critical, rational minds. So really what I want you to take away from it is use your logic, your reason, your optimistic skepticism. Is Bob Lazar telling us the truth? I wanted to know the truth about Bob. Is he worthy of our trust?
The lie here is that he is a total believer, and he has been from a young age. He questions nothing, does next to no investigating, and he believes whatever he is told.
So really, I was 13 years old, and on the radio I heard the famous Bob Lazar. I was 13 years old, 1989, and I hear Bob. But there has been contact. I do not have the luxury of disbelief.
Why do you think these people who can build these superior things haven't come here?
They have come here. Whether you like it or not, it's real. Science has finally caught up, and we know that life is homogeneous throughout the universe. This is really happening. It's been happening for a long time, since the beginning of recorded human history.
Why don't they come to New York?
Right, so they do come to New York. But UFOs are real. It's happening. It's real. These intelligences are controlling whatever these are, if they're craft or whatever. They have made themselves clearly available. You know, they haven't come on your show yet, Larry, but let's get that to happen.
Jeremy doesn't restrict himself to just UFOs and aliens. He's into the whole mixed bag.
Creatures, I know this is weird, crawling out of what appeared to be inverted geometric fucking portholes on the...
I will put the link to Robot Head in the show description right after I'm done saying good night. Good night. Thank you for hanging out and looking a little bit into Bob Lazar through the eyes of others who made videos, had interviews, and or documentaries, or even a news interview about Bob Lazar, with Bob Lazar, and anything Bob Lazar. It's a story that's always going to be questioned. Never will we ever know the truth. Hopefully Bob Lazar on his deathbed will tell us the truth. That's all we can hope for. Ma, get the deathbed. Lazar. Oh, she got it. Ever since she got a new shoulder, I mean, she's like Jamie Lee. Who's the bionic woman? Jamie Summers, right? Yeah, Jamie Summers. Well, thank you everybody for hanging out tonight. It was a little entertaining. Not much I could do anyway for Bob Lazar except show you those things, because there's nothing new about Bob Lazar to show you anything new. So it was just a little way to have a little fun tonight and look back on a guy who should be, he should be on a lie detector test. Do you think Bob Lazar would pass a lie detector test? Put a 1 in the chat room if you think he would. Put a 2 in the chat room if you think he'd fail. Put a 3 if you don't know who Bob Lazar is. Thank you, moderators and super chatters, for hanging out tonight here on GUFON. Hey, don't forget, you can still support the show. All the links are in the show description. You guys know what to do. And maybe go check out, well, I didn't put any videos up. They're going up tomorrow. The very first video on the new channel, Rich Saves America. And I think you'll see the good in what I'll be doing in the next, or the first video over there. So go check it out in the next day or two. You'll see the notifications. And we'll be back. What's tomorrow? Saturday at 7. Normal time. We're not going early. There's no MMA tomorrow. No UFC, I mean. We're good. Thank you, newcomers and veterans. Making the chat room a lot more spicy, but not offensive. See, that's what I like about the GUFOnian family. You guys know how to treat each other most of the time. Unless your name is... Never mind. And what do? We do it every night. And I don't... Truthology for ufology. It's for you. Wow. I mean, great effort. Can you try it with a little more effort, please? Truthology for ufology. For you. See you tomorrow. Hope you have a good weekend. Remember, if you ain't looking up, you ain't looking out. Remember when I used to say that stuff? Nah. All right, alien bless. Be good out there. Come on, we only live once. Once. No. Many times, but once here that we know of. Well, I don't know, but whatever. All right, have a good weekend. I can't say goodbye for some reason. Maybe there'll be a bonus. Alien bless.
Look at that thing. It's rotating.
What's blood in the skies over Jerusalem? And why is it downward treasured sites in Christianity?
Guys later. Ciao.
All right, here's something that is real interesting. This is a ghost shadow. So check this out. You can see, if you watch here in a second, a shadow. Is it a bird? Right, it comes around, and then when it gets to this spot up here, it slows and then takes off. Right there, watch. It's gonna slow down when it gets here, and then it takes off. Check it out. Comes out of the bush. It's not on the ground, and then it kind of gets a little blurry here, and then boosh. It's weird. Look. I don't know what it is. I don't know. All I know is that it's there. And I try to think to myself, well, it's got to be a bird. But it comes out of the bushes. You don't see it until there. And that park has the strangest stuff that I've captured. You saw the UFO I captured, and that shadow, and then I caught another one. I can't find it, but that place is weird. I get some strange interference there. I lose the signal sometimes. It's just the signal to the drone. It's just weird. The park has got strange anomalies, and I love it. This is really strange. Watch how this object comes in. See how it's like up and down? When it makes this turn, and you see how it's shaped? Now it's going to turn upward, and it stays that way. A bird would turn its wings, and it doesn't. It doesn't turn its wings at all. It stays in the same exact position. That is weird. It stays vertical. That is not a bird. I can't believe what I captured here. That's it. I want to thank my patrons for being dedicated and supporting GUFON.
Inside of me, you better watch out if you ignite me's a road ahead of full prophecy to be the greatest beast the world has ever seen. I feed him every day like the bones clean. I feed him all the hate and he grows mean. He gets claws real big, pissed off quick, and if you cross him you might drop dead. Metaphorically, of course, settling the score, never getting bored, loves the blood and gore, always wanting more freedom from the source. They don't really understand until they feel the force departed. If you start shit, you'll be heartless in the darkness, torn apart quick, you left scars ripped, you'll be chewed up and discarded. And this world ain't right, won't accept it. Negative energy, I expect it. Once it's in your mind, it's infectious. So fight for your life and reject it. You better give me space, I'm protective. My adrenaline spikes when I'm threatened. And if you stay in my way, I'm aggressive. Cause when there's no exit, I'll kill when I'm desperate. Adrenaline pressure, it's stormy weather, lightning, thunder, pouring weather. Yo, I'm a go-getter, try to do it like me, but I do it better. I got a mind that's clever, the beast inside is competitive as ever. I'm conscious, my subconscious, an accomplice to me. I promise the darkness, I can honest believe. But don't cross me, I might lose control of the lost beast. He's locked away inside with the key controlled by fight or flight. And this world ain't right, won't accept it. Negative energy, I expect it. Once it's in your mind, it's infectious. So fight for your life and reject it. You better give me space, I'm protective. My adrenaline spikes when I'm threatened. And if you stay in my way, I'm aggressive. Cause when there's no exit, I'll kill when I'm desperate.
inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. Take my eyes open to force reality.